The night you passed through my world, at 11:43 that night, under the only street lamp still burning after the storm, Caleb Hart saw the woman he had spent 7 years trying to forget. She was standing across the road in an orange coat. Rain fell between them like a curtain. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then the light above them flickered, the puddles shivered, and Caleb saw something that made his chest ache. In the water at his feet, their reflections were walking toward each other, but in real life, she turned away and walked into the night. Her name was Elise Monroe. Once, she had been his whole world. Now, she was only a stranger passing through it. Caleb had returned to Harrow Bay because his father was dying. That was the simple explanation, the one he gave to old neighbors, distant relatives, and the woman at the grocery store who still remembered him as the boy who used to buy lemon drops after school. But the truth was more complicated. He had come back because the city had become too loud, because his apartment in Chicago felt less like a home and more like a waiting room, because one night, while standing in a crowded train station, he realized he had not truly looked forward to anything in years. So when the call came from his father's doctor, Caleb packed one suitcase, locked his apartment, and drove 9 hours through the rain to the town he had sworn he would never return to. Harrow Bay was smaller than he remembered, or maybe he had simply grown too tired to be impressed by distance. The town sat along the coast, where the roads were narrow, the houses leaned toward the sea, and every winter storm left salt on the windows. There was one movie theater, one old bookstore, one diner that stayed open until midnight, and one street lamp at the end of Pier Road, where Caleb had kissed Elise Monroe for the first time when they were 17. Back then, she wore yellow rain boots and wrote poems in the margins of science textbooks. Back then, Caleb believed love was a thing you could promise once and keep forever. Back then, everything had seemed possible because neither of them knew how cruel timing could be. Elise wanted to become a photographer, not the kind who took wedding pictures or family portraits. She wanted to photograph storms, train stations, empty roads, lonely windows, and people who looked as if they were about to leave. "You always photograph sad things," Caleb once told her. Elise smiled and lifted her camera toward the cloudy sky. "No, I photograph things before they disappear." Caleb had not understood what she meant, not until she disappeared from his life. They grew up 3 streets apart. His father fixed boats. Her mother ran the flower shop beside the train station. They met properly in junior year, after Caleb found Elise sitting on the library floor during a thunderstorm, surrounded by books she had no intention of checking out. "You're blocking the history section," he said. She looked up at him. "Good. History is mostly people making terrible choices and pretending they had no other option." Caleb laughed. Elise did not. That was the first thing he liked about her. She said strange things as if they were perfectly ordinary. Soon, they were walking home together after school. Then they were sharing fries at the diner. Then they were meeting under the street lamp on Pier Road. Whenever either of them had something they could not say at home, Caleb told her about his father's anger. Elise told him about her mother's loneliness. He told her he felt trapped in Harrow Bay. She told him she was terrified that if she left, no one would notice. One night, after graduation, rain began falling so hard the whole road turned silver. They stood beneath the street lamp, soaked and laughing, while the sea crashed black beyond the pier. Elise took his photograph. Caleb covered his face. "Don't." "Why?" "Because I look terrible." "No," she said softly. "You look like someone who hasn't left yet." He lowered his hands. "What does that mean?" Elise stepped closer. "It means I want to remember you before the world changes you." The rain ran down her hair, her cheeks, her coat. Caleb kissed her because he did not know what else to do with all the love rising inside him. She kissed him back, and for one perfect moment, the world was only rain, light, and Elise. 2 weeks later, Caleb left for college. Elise stayed behind for 1 year to take care of her mother, who had fallen ill. They promised it would not change anything. They promised they would call every night. They promised distance was just a road, and roads could always be crossed. For a while, they were right. Then life began doing what life does. It stretched the space between them until even their voices sounded far away. Caleb became busy. Elise became exhausted. Calls became shorter. Messages became careful. They stopped sharing the small things first, then the hard things. Then, finally, the truth. The last time they spoke, Caleb was 21 and angry in the selfish way of young men who do not yet know the difference between being hurt and being abandoned. "You keep choosing that town over us," he said. Elise was silent for a long time. Then she said, "And you keep acting like leaving made you brave." The word struck too deeply, so Caleb struck back. "Maybe we were only good because Harrow Bay was small." Elise inhaled sharply. He heard it through the phone. A small, wounded sound. Then she said, "Maybe." That was the last word she gave him. Maybe. For 7 years, Caleb hated that word. It followed him everywhere. Maybe if he had apologized. Maybe if she had called back. Maybe if they had been older. Maybe if they had been kinder. Maybe if love alone had been enough. Now, at 28, Caleb stood in Harrow Bay again, carrying groceries for a father who barely spoke to him, and memories he had never learned how to put down. His father, Thomas Hart, had once been the strongest man Caleb knew. Broad shoulders, weathered hands, a voice that could quiet a room without rising. Now he sat in an armchair by the window, thinner than he should have been, wrapped in a grey blanket, watching rain blur the glass. "You saw her, didn't you?" his father asked one evening. Caleb froze in the kitchen. "Saw who?" Thomas gave him a tired look. "Don't insult a dying man by pretending he's stupid." Caleb set down the kettle. "Elise," his father nodded. "She came by last month, brought flowers." Caleb turned. "She came here. For me, not for you." That sounded like his father. Sharp, even when weak. Caleb looked away. "She still lives here. Sometimes. She travels for work. Comes back when she needs quiet." "What kind of work?" "Photography, magazines, exhibitions. Things I don't understand." Caleb nodded slowly. Of course she had done it. Of course she had become the person she said she would become. Somehow that made him proud and sad at the same time. His father coughed into a handkerchief. "You should talk to her." Caleb laughed once. "She walked away when she saw me." "Maybe she was afraid you would." Caleb had no answer. The next afternoon, he found an envelope in the glove compartment of his father's truck. It was old, yellowed at the edges, with his name written across the front. Caleb. The handwriting was Elise's. His heart began beating so hard it hurt. He went back inside, holding the envelope like it might burn him. His father saw it and closed his eyes. "You found it?" Caleb stared at him. "What is this?" Thomas looked smaller than usual. "She brought it here years ago." "When?" "After her mother died." Caleb felt the room tilt. Elise's mother died. His father nodded. 6 years ago. Caleb sat down slowly. He had not known. No one had told him. Or maybe they had tried. And he had already trained his life not to receive anything from home. "She came looking for you," Thomas said. "I told her you weren't coming back." Caleb looked at the envelope. "And she left this?" "Yes." "Why didn't you send it to me?" His father's jaw tightened. For a moment, Caleb saw the old hardness return. Then it faded. "Because I was angry," Thomas said. "At her. At you." Caleb stared at him. Thomas looked toward the rain. "You left like I meant nothing. Like this town meant nothing. Like your mother's grave meant nothing." Caleb's voice went cold. "So you kept her letter from me?" "I told myself it was better that way." "For who?" His father did not answer. The silence between them filled with years. Caleb wanted to shout. He wanted to blame him for everything. But Thomas looked so tired. And suddenly, Caleb understood the terrible truth. People rarely destroy things because they are evil. Most of the time, they destroy things because they are wounded and too proud to say where it hurts. Caleb took the letter upstairs. For almost an hour, he sat on the edge of his childhood bed, unable to open it. Outside, rain tapped gently against the window. At last, he tore the envelope. Inside was a photograph. The street lamp on Pier Road. Rain falling through yellow light. No people, only two reflections in a puddle, facing opposite directions. On the back, Elise had written, "I came back to tell you my mother died. I came back because I did not know where else to take my grief. I stood under our street lamp for an hour. You were not there. Maybe that is fair. Maybe we have both become people the other one would not recognize. But I need to say this once. You did pass through my world, Caleb. Not quietly, not gently. You passed through it like a storm. And for a while, everything in me turned toward you. I used to think that meant you had to stay. Now I am trying to understand that some people are not homes. Some people are roads. They lead us somewhere. They change the sky. Then they end. I hope the road has been kind to you. Elise." Caleb read the letter twice, then a third time. By the fourth, the words blurred. That night, he went to Pier Road. The storm had returned. Rain fell hard over the pavement. The sea beyond the pier was black and restless. The street lamp still stood at the end of the road, its yellow light trembling in the rain. Caleb stood beneath it until his coat was soaked through. He did not know what he expected. Forgiveness, punishment, a ghost of the girl in yellow rain boots. Then he heard footsteps. He turned. Elise stood across the road in her orange coat, just like the night before. Her dark hair was damp from the rain. Her camera hung from one shoulder. For a long moment, they only looked at each other. Then Caleb said, "I got your letter." Her face changed. "Not much, just enough. You were supposed to get it 6 years ago." "I know." Elise looked away toward the water. "I wondered if you read it and decided silence was your answer. My father kept it." She closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, there was no surprise in them, only sadness. "I'm sorry about your mother," Caleb said. The words were late, almost useless, but they were all he had. Elise nodded. "I'm sorry about your father. He's still here." "I know," she said softly, "but you're already losing him." The rain fell between them. Caleb swallowed. "I should have been there." "For which part?" He almost smiled, but it hurt too much. "All of it." Elise looked at him then. The street lamp turned the rain around her into gold. "We were young," she said. "We were cruel." "Yes, I was cruel." "Yes." He accepted it. "Because it was true. I thought leaving meant becoming free," he said. "But I think I just became good at not looking back." Elise's expression softened. "I thought staying meant being abandoned. But maybe I was using the town as a place to hide from wanting more." They stood with the road between them. So little distance, so many years. Caleb wanted to cross. He did not. Not yet. "What happens now?" he asked. Elise looked down at the puddle between them. Their reflections shimmered there, side by side, broken by rain. "Now," she said, "now we stop pretending the past can become clean just because we finally understand it." Caleb let out a breath. "That sounds fair." "It's not fair," she said. "It's just honest." He nodded. Elise lifted her camera and took a photograph. Caleb laughed softly, still photographing things before they disappear. She lowered the camera. "Sometimes I photograph things that survived." A car passed behind them, its headlights sweeping across the wet road. For 1 second, the whole world shone. Then darkness returned, but not completely. The street lamp still burned. Over the next weeks, Caleb and Elise began meeting without calling it meeting. At first, it was accidental. The grocery store, the diner, the bookstore. Then it became intentional in the quiet way adults choose. Things they are afraid to name. Coffee at noon, walks by the sea, sitting in the old movie theater with popcorn neither of them finished. They did not fall back in love. That would have been too simple, too childish. Instead, they learned the new shapes of each other. Elise had become calmer, not softer, calmer. She listened before she spoke. She carried grief the way some people carry a favorite book. Close, familiar, worn at the edges. Caleb had become quieter, not because he had nothing to say, because he had finally learned that words could wound long. After anger had faded, sometimes they talked about the past, sometimes they did not. One afternoon, Elise showed him her studio above the old flower shop. The room smelled faintly of paper, dust, and rain. Photographs covered the walls. Train stations, storm clouds, empty roads, windows glowing at night, people standing at the edge of leaving. Then Caleb saw one wall covered only with pictures of Harrow Bay, the street lamp, the diner, the pier, his father's boatyard, the road outside his old house. "You came back a lot," he said. Elise stood beside him. "Yes. Why?" She looked at the photographs. "Because I kept trying to prove I had outgrown this place." "And did you?" "No," she said. "I just learned to love it without needing it to apologize." Caleb understood that more than he wanted to. His father died in early spring. Not dramatically, not during a storm, not with a final speech. He died in the quiet hour before dawn, while the house was still and the world outside was turning blue. Caleb was beside him. Their last conversation had happened the night before. Thomas had stared at the ceiling for a long time before saying, "I thought if I made you hard, life would not break you." Caleb sat beside the bed. "It broke me anyway." His father closed his eyes. "I know." Then, after a long silence, he said, "I am sorry about the letter." Caleb looked at his hands. For years, he had imagined apologies as doors that could open and let all the pain out. But this apology was small, human, late. Still, it mattered. "I'm sorry I stayed away," Caleb said. Thomas breathed slowly. "You came back, late, still back." The next morning, he was gone. At the funeral, rain fell softly over the cemetery. Elise stood beneath a black umbrella near the back. She did not approach him right away. She only stayed. That was enough. After the burial, Caleb walked to the edge of the hill overlooking the sea. Elise joined him. For a while, neither spoke. Then Caleb said, "I spent so long blaming him that I forgot he was also just a man who didn't know how to be less afraid." Elise nodded. "That's the worst part of growing up." "What is?" "Realizing the people who hurt us were wounded too. It does not erase anything, but it makes hatred harder to hold." Caleb looked at her. "When did you become so wise?" She smiled faintly. "When I got tired of being angry." Summer came slowly. Harrow Bay filled with tourists, children, bicycles, and the smell of fried food from the pier. Caleb stayed to settle his father's affairs. Then he stayed to repair the house. Then he stayed because, for the first time in years, leaving did not feel like freedom. Elise worked on an exhibition called Passing Through. She asked Caleb to help choose the final photographs. He expected landscapes. Instead, the collection was full of people. A woman laughing alone in a train station. A man sitting in a hospital hallway with flowers in his lap. A child watching rain through a bus window. An old couple crossing a street without holding hands, yet walking perfectly in step. And finally, the photograph from 6 years ago. The street lamp, the rain, to reflections in a puddle, facing opposite directions. Caleb stared at it for a long time. "I hated this picture when I first saw it," he said. Elise stood beside him. "I hated it when I took it. Why keep it? Because it told the truth before I was ready to." On the night of the exhibition, the gallery was crowded. People came from the city, from magazines, from places Caleb had once thought mattered more than home. Elise wore a dark blue dress and looked both nervous and untouchable. Caleb stood near the back, watching strangers pause before her photographs. Some smiled, some cried, some stood very still, as if they had found themselves in a frame. Then Elise stepped forward to speak. "I used to believe people came into our lives for one of two reasons," she said. "Either they stayed or they left." The room grew quiet. "But I was wrong. Some people pass through us. They change the way light falls. They change the roads we choose. They change what we notice after they are gone." Her eyes found Caleb's for half a second. "And even when they do not stay, that does not mean they meant nothing." Caleb felt something inside him loosen. Not hope exactly. Something gentler. Acceptance. After the exhibition, they walked back through Harrow Bay under a clear night sky. No rain this time. Only stars. The street lamp on Pier Road glowed ahead of them. When they reached it, Elise stopped. Caleb stopped too. The puddle from all those years ago was gone. The road was dry. Their reflections no longer existed beneath them. Only their shadows stretched behind them in the yellow light. Elise looked at him. "I'm leaving next week." Caleb's heart tightened. "For work?" "For a while, Paris. Then maybe Lisbon, maybe somewhere else." He nodded. This time, he did not ask her to stay. This time, he understood that loving someone did not give him the right to become a locked door. "I'm glad," he said. She studied him. "Are you?" "No," he admitted. "But I mean it." Elise smiled then. A real smile. The kind he remembered. The kind that made him feel 17 and ancient at the same time. "What will you do?" she asked. Caleb looked toward the sea. "I think I'll stay for a while. Fix the house. Maybe turn the boatyard into something useful." "That sounds like you." "No," he said softly. "It sounds like who I'm becoming." Elise nodded. They stood beneath the lamp, older than they had been, kinder than they had been, and still not young enough to believe love could solve everything. Caleb reached into his coat and pulled out an envelope. "I wrote you back," he said. Elise looked at it. 7 years late. 6, depending how generous you are. She laughed softly and took it. "Should I read it now?" "Only if you want to." She opened the envelope under the street lamp. Inside was one photograph. A new one. Caleb had taken it that morning with his phone. The same street lamp, the same road, but this time the picture was taken at sunrise. No rain, no reflections, only light stretching across the pavement. On the back, he had written, "You passed through my world too, not like a storm, like a window opening. 4 years, I thought the pain meant the love had failed. Now I think some love succeeds by teaching us how to become more honest. Even if it cannot become a home, I hope every road is kind to you. And if one ever brings you back, the light will be on." Elise read it slowly. When she looked up, her eyes were wet. "You finally learned how to say goodbye," she whispered. Caleb smiled softly. "I think I'm learning how to mean it." She stepped closer. For a moment, he thought she might kiss him. Instead, she placed her hand against his chest, right over his heart. "Take care of this," she said. "I will." Then she turned and walked away. This time, Caleb watched her go. He did not call after her. He did not mistake ache for destiny. He did not beg the road to turn around. He simply stood beneath the street lamp until she disappeared into the blue edge of morning. Years later, people would ask Caleb why he never left Harrow Bay again. He would tell them there were practical reasons. The house, the boatyard, the small cafe he eventually opened near Pier Road, where travelers came in from the rain and left notes beneath the glass tables. But that was not the whole truth. The truth was that Caleb had spent years trying to escape the place where he first learned love, only to discover that love was not a place. It was not a person. It was not even a promise. Love was what remained after the storm passed through. The streets still wet, the lamp still burning, the heart still open, even after losing. Sometimes, Elise sent postcards. A bridge in Paris, a blue door in Lisbon, a rainy window in Prague. She never wrote much, only a sentence or two. Still passing through, still looking for light. Caleb kept every card in a wooden box beneath the cafe counter. He did not wait for her. Not exactly. He lived. He made coffee. He repaired old boats on weekends. He called lonely neighbors. He learned his father's recipes. He watched storms come in over the sea. And on rainy nights, when the street lamp reflected in the puddles outside, he would sometimes think of the girl in the orange coat. The girl who had passed through his whole world. The girl who had taught him that not every goodbye is an ending. Some goodbyes are doors. Some people leave and still save a part of you. Some love stories do not become forever. They become the reason you finally learn how to stay. And if you ever find yourself walking alone beneath a street lamp in the rain, wondering why someone came into your life only to leave it, remember this. Maybe they were not meant to be your home. Maybe they were the road. Maybe they were the storm. Maybe they were the light that showed you where your own heart had been waiting all along.